Join Bob Kolazarik as he welcomes a diverse array of guests to the enlightening talk show, Greetings from the Ashram. In each episode, Bob sits down with experts and practitioners from the world of complementary healing modalities, spirituality, and holistic wellness to delve into the transformative power of these practices. From ancient traditions to cutting-edge therapies, Greetings from the Ashram offers viewers an insightful and uplifting journey into the realms of mind, body, and spirit. So now, please welcome your host, Bob Kolazarik.
Hello, everyone. Namaste and welcome. I am Bob Kolazarik, and you are watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Welcome to another episode of Greetings from the Ashram, as we warmly welcome the extraordinary Jocelyn Bates to our show. Jocelyn is a multifaceted Akashic Records guide, a soul art guide, yoga nidra guide, and human design coach. Her diverse expertise also includes being an expressive arts therapist and an EFT master practitioner. I don't know what all those things are, but hopefully we'll learn a little bit tonight. But for over 25 years, Jocelyn has been a guiding light for countless individuals on their journey to discovering authenticity and purpose in life. Her own path took a poignant turn 2.5 years ago when she experienced the profound loss of both of her parents within 7 days of each other. Since then, Jocelyn has courageously navigated the depths of grief, allowing it to expand her perspective, fuel her creativity, and illuminate her life story. Through her transformative work, Jocelyn is dedicated to empowering others to recognize their inner strength, overcome obstacles, embrace their inherent value, uncover their life's calling, tap into their creative essence, practice self-love, nurture their physical being, and ultimately live their most fulfilling life. So prepare to be inspired as Jocelyn shares her profound insights, wisdom, and resilience on how to navigate through grief, harness personal power, and embark on a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. So let's dive into the conversation filled with authenticity, some vulnerability, and the transformative power of embracing one's true self. It's with great pleasure to introduce the remarkable Jocelyn Bates to Greetings from the Ashram. And the crowd goes wild.
What a wonderful introduction. I love it.
I hope, you're going to over-deliver, I promise. I don't even know where to get started with you because you have so much to talk about. But you have a 25-plus year history of helping others, and you work with the several, I'll call it modalities. I know one way that you help guide people is as an Akashic Records guide, which I don't know too much about. But can you share, with the audience, the pivotal moments or experiences that led you to delve into the realms of the Akashic Records?
Yeah.
And maybe explain a little bit about what it is.
Yeah. So the Akashic Records are a realm of pure knowledge. People channel through the Akashic Records, and anyone can go into their own Akashic Records. It's available to anyone to go into your own records. It's basically the knowledge of your soul from the time that it was born. The soul was born, not in this life, but whatever life, where it started. And you can go into the Akashic Records because every living being has an Akashic Records. Every blade of grass, every event, every relationship has an Akashic Records. So, but we can go into our own. Anyone is available to go into their own. I ended up getting trained to go into other people's records. And one of the things that brought me to that to begin with was actually what you had mentioned was that grief that I had when my parents had died 7 days apart in September of 2021. And that kind of loss, especially it's parental, it just took everything from underneath me. And I went into a bit of a spiral for a few months. I was telling you, I don't remember anything from the 4 or 5 months. But when I started to come out and look at my mother's emails. And my mother's emails, she was very holistic. I grew up, no sugar, no food dyes. My mom channeled angels. She was a Feldenkrais practitioner. She was a aromatherapist. My parents went to the Edgar Cayce, center every year. I grew up like this. They took me to Sedona,
Yeah, which is on my hot list to go visit for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I grew up like that. That was my childhood. And so when she died, I went to her emails and I was just like looking to connect to her. And she set me on this path of human design. And because she was following somebody, and I reached out to that person so that I could just connect to her a little. And then I found another person. And it was through the human design that I found the Akashic Records. Um, it was brought in one of my programs that I was involved in a community. It was brought in as like, hey, check this out. We went to do a meditation to find your own Akashic Records. And while I was doing that, I got lost a little bit in a past life, not lost like scary, but I was like, this is not reality right now. Like I knew that I was not in the place that I was, but I was totally in another place, like that feeling. I don't know. The only thing I could maybe say it was close to is if you've ever lost someone and had a dream where they visited you and everything is just super real. So that was kind of what it was like, but I didn't recognize anything. And I was so fascinated when she called me out, I could come out easily. And I didn't have a problem. I didn't get stuck there. But I was so fascinated that I went and I had a session with her and I was like, you need to explain to me what happened. I know I felt it. Like I knew that I was in a past life. I knew innately that it was a past life. And I didn't understand it. I'm like, how did I do that? Like, what's going on? I need to know more. And when she did my session, she's like, you're meant to be an Akashic Records guide. And so I ended up training with her to read the records for myself, which is the whole first part of the class. It's just learning and understanding the different levels you can go to in the Akashic Records, which is basically like, I feel like it's infinite. There's like, it feels limitless when you're in there. And then the second part of the class is learning how to read the Akashic Records for others. And so that's kind of what brought me there. And the fact that it was after that grief, I spent a lot of time in my Akashic Records with my spirit team and my parents, actually, and diving into my ancestry in ways that I wasn't able to do outside of the Akashic Records because I didn't know very much. I didn't have anyone to ask anymore. I had to, do it for myself. So they were pivotal in me connecting with my ancestors, with my spirit team, with my past lives, where I've been and where I'm going. So yeah,
Yeah,
does
that's
that give you
pretty.
an answer?
Oh, no, that's a great answer. How do you get there? I mean, is it just with intention and under just meditation? Just put yourself into it.
Yeah. So when I go into people's records, I use mantras that were channeled from the records. However, you can go into your own at any time, but it's best when you're going your first time to ask a spirit guide to guide you there. It's best to get into a meditative state and activate a spirit guide to bring you there. Um, because it's different for everybody. And actually, when I first went into my Akashic Records, they looked much different than they look now to me, because I was brought in by a guide, and it's very safe that way. You just make sure you have guides that you trust, or guides that when you ask the highest, most aligned divine guides, the divine highest, most aligned divine help to guide me to my records. Um, and then when you're in there, it's channeling. So the thing is, you just have to understand your own clair abilities, right? If you're not used to using your clair abilities for channeling, it's important. And this is why you ask about meditation. It's important to find presence in your body, find stillness in your body so that you can feel the sensations and the thoughts and the pictures that you come up for you. And one of the things that was amazing for me to learn, because I'm an artist, so I've always been creative. So anytime I have a very strong clairvoyance. Anytime I would have a meditation, I would immediately picture something. And I would say, oh, that's just my imagination. That's just my creativity. And one of the big things I learned was creativity is a major clairability. I mean, that imagination basically is clairvoyance. But I would second guess it my whole life because I was an artist. I'm like, well, I just thought like that because I'm an artist. I'm a creative person, right? And learning that was pivotal for me using my clair abilities and channeling.
Sounds some similar to I've been on some spiritual retreats, spiritual vacations, work with a couple of masters, Master Glenn, who I talk about all the time. Master Marilag is his wife, but she'll take us into a meditative state and say, okay, envision this hall with a bunch of books and just go find the book, to if you have a question, go look for the question that you want. So we find ourselves in this like library or hall, individually, and then the book will pop out. and then you open the book and you kind of find the answers. It sounds similar to what you're talking about to a degree, I would say.
Yeah. Although just know that the Akashic Records, you doesn't have to be a library or a book.
Yeah, that was
I've
just the
seen people go in different
meditation
ways.
that she had us focus on. So let me ask you,
Yeah.
what when you were starting to do that, um, did you get deeper understanding of creativity, your spirituality, your growth? What kind of answers did you get that kind of helped you out, and how would you do that to help other people?
I actually got a major understandings of a lot of my blocks in this life. Like I started to understand in my own records that my need for permission from other people was a long-standing theme in my past lives. And the beautiful thing about the Akashic Records are when you're there, you can change contracts, you can transmute contracts. I had a contract with this belief, this belief system that I was able to transmute. And the minute I transmuted it, I noticed I said to my husband, it's been a week and I haven't asked for permission for anything. I didn't even have the want to do it. Normally it'd be like 18 times in a day. What do you think? Is this okay? Is that okay? And it was just something that came from these past lives of mine. It was really cool. And he was like, no, you didn't. So there are, the cool thing about being in the records is you can transmute those past lives. You can transmute um, deals, agreements, belief systems. You can actually rewrite records. You can write in the things that you want to create in your life. And so that was a huge one. The permission was a huge one for me. And I also, what's really interesting is when I went into my records, I found that I had a lot of violent past lives, a lot of sexual violence in my past lives. I had a lot of prostitution, that kind of thing. And it makes sense because in this life, I was an expressive art therapist for sexual abuse and trauma in teenage girls. And it was something that I didn't know how I ended up there, right? Like, I'm not sure how I ended up there. But when I started looking at my past lives, I was told this is a place that I'm supposed to now assimilate all the information from my past lives. And this is the place where I move now to the next level with that, right? So I'm assimilating it in this life. So it's really interesting the work you can do in your records. Understanding relationships. I understood my relationship to my parents much better in my Akashic records. And I was able to go into, times in my life that were confusing. So like I don't remember a lot of my childhood. So I can't pinpoint, right? But I know a few small memories. And why are those memories important? I can go into the Akashic records of that memory within my records and understand, okay, well, I can feel into what that feels like. Why am I remembering just this piece, right? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it sounds cool. Yeah, we have similar things. Like we're always well, like myself, I always recognizing old programs that patterns of behavior that keep going. And I'm like, why do I have this pattern? I think I was talking about it last week where, just I have this pattern to withdraw and just kind of self isolate and just be a loner. And, it's very strong within me. But I do think it has to do with, past lives. And you talked about Wessock when we were off the air. So Wessock is a good time to let go of all that stuff too. All this divine energy coming down just to release it. But yeah, I need to figure out the the two ex-wife situations in terms of relationships. So I might have to get with you on that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that we have these really deep set things that sometimes we're like, where did that come from? Why is that such a samskara? Like you do, I don't know, I think you said you've done yoga, the samskara. Why is that samskara there? Why is it so deep? Why is that trow so deep for that behavior, that pattern? And you just can't put your finger on it. Our our souls are old. A lot of us are old, and we've been around for a long time, and we've built up karma. And in yoga nidra, that karma is not good or bad. It's just the energy that's flowed in a direction for so long. And so to change that karma and that samskara, that path and that groove of energy and choices that have been made, right? In order to change that, you have to look deeper than this life because it comes from so many other lives of yours. Does that make sense?
Oh, it totally makes sense. I mean, I totally believe in past lives, and I've had like Master Glenn, like Bob, you got a lot of ancient seeds coming out, ancient anger coming out. And like, well, actually, it's the 1 year anniversary of my ex wife's passing. And I let him know that she had passed away. And then, he emailed me back. He's like, "You got a lot of ancient anger coming out," and there was maybe a little sadness, but she did make me angry quite a bit. But anyway, I want to talk more about the soul art and the yoga nidra, but it's time to take a short commercial break. So I'm Bob Kozarek. You're watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network, and we'll be right back with Jocelyn right after this.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Bob Kozarek, and you are watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. We're back with Jocelyn Bates, multifaceted individual. Last time we were talking about yoga nidra and the soul art. So let's go into the soul art because you're an artist. You have all that creativity. How do you see that creativity and the spirituality intersecting in the process of the soul art?
I all of the things I do, I see them all interconnected, intertwined, and braid together. And creativity is that one thread that goes almost all the way through all of them. I feel like that curiosity and creativity in general, that's like that. If you want to jump into your human experiment and learn more and heal and ascend to wherever you want to go, you got to have the curiosity and the creativity. It, to me, is the way the soul speaks to us. And I've found that very, very true. Soul art is actually like creating that connection to your soul, to your highest aligned self, and allowing it to speak through you, and then sitting with what you create and finding insights and spirit actions. It's like a beautiful journey, soul art. And there's so many levels of soul art. There's a lot of what's called body mapping, where you would trace the body and then work within that. Well, you don't always have to stay in the outline, but you'd work on the outline and with whatever creative expression you chose. And the soul art is this journey that goes from, creating an intention, doing a body map, doing a creativity door and walking into creative expression, and then in insight and spirit action. And the whole thing is like, for anyone, you don't have to be an artist, because the point of creating with your soul through creativity is the process. It's not the product. You're not looking to put something on a museum wall. You're looking for your highest self to speak through your hands,
So what's the process of getting into that? Because I had a shamanic priestess on, and she does an ecstatic dance, which I think it's just like freestyle and dance. Is that the same with the soul art? It just kind of like get into a certain space, or just let yourself go?
Yeah,
How
on
does
a
that?
soul art journey, there's a really important piece of it is intention. You have to really build, like, find your intention for the journey. It's like a shamanic journey. I imagine that same guest also had some kind of intention set before her shamanic journeys in ecstatic movement, you know. So there's like really big piece of creating an intention with your soul. It's not like I'm just going to write a mantra or an affirmation. It's a very personalized intention setting process in the journey. And then the body mapping is about connecting to your body. So when you're creating on your body map, it's like a really cool magical moment that you're actually speaking through your soul and you're creating on the actual outline of your body. It's this, I don't know quite how to explain it, but it's magical when you create your soul art on your own. You're creating changes within your own outline. And then to walk through into the creative expression, you open in soul art what's called a creativity door. And that is what makes it so easy, because the creativity door can be anything from pulling a card to flipping through a book of mythology to maybe sketching or doodling to, and it can be any kind of collaging, even, right? Looking through a magazine, anything that just gets you inspired. And then as a soul art guide, I hold the space for you to be non judgmental, to let go of the critic, the rights and the wrongs, and just play creatively on the paper. And soul art doesn't have to stay on the paper, but I find that's where most people like to start. And that's the easiest thing for people to really go with. I love dancing in my soul arts. I've videotaped my own self dancing the 5 rhythms. I've created, movies. I've gone out and taken videos. I've made clay. So I'm further along in that, though, and I'm comfortable changing modality, because that's my expressive art therapy is intermodal. So I'm always changing modalities. And so you go in and you open that creativity door and make it really easy to express. And I hold the space. That's one thing I'm really excel at, is holding a non-judgmental space for people just to go at it, right? And then when they're done, they'll naturally come to a close. And then I sit with them and we look at, what are the insights here? What is this telling you? We dialogue with it, talk with it, notice it. And then at the end of a soul art journey, you come up with a spirit action from the person on the journey, something they can do that's tangible. Because as is any shaman journey, the minute you set your intention, your energy, a piece of you goes into that journey, right? It's like any
Yeah.
shaman journey.
Well, yeah, for sure.
So that spirit action is the call back of your energy. Once you finish it, you have a date, it's simple, you know what you're doing. And when that comes, your energy comes back. It's the end of the journey.
Well, we have some of your handiwork. We could put that up on the screen, and you can walk us through it.
Yeah, these
So,
are just some of my soul arts pieces that I've done in the past. The one on the top left was one I did for when I was creating a workshop, and I was doing an intention around who I wanted to bring into that workshop and how I wanted to show up in that workshop. And you can even see my body outline, and that one is really, really apparent. I kind of worked within my body outline on that one. And then the one on the top right, you really can't see my body outline because I worked around it. But this was actually a piece, and part of my energy map. I'm doing an energy mapping soul art journey right now, which is about 6 or 7 different pieces. And that is one of them that I used. I believe that I used charcoals and soft pastels. The piece itself is almost 10 feet long. So you
oh,
really
well,
don't get the sense of how big it is, but it's about 10 feet long.
it's
Um,
kind of got that Van Gogh Starry Night feel to it.
I find that I have a lot of these circles and spirals and portals a lot in my artwork.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then the one on the bottom left, I did my unique essence for my core star in a soul art journey. It's kind of like where your spirit meets your body. And that was like those little clay pieces. I had so much fun. I picked up this root from the backyard and I was like, it was missing the ground, and I put all this paint on it and I wrapped them with the yarn and put the clay heads on them. And then I took all kinds of pictures and worked on it in Procreate. And that was that one. That's like, I call it my heart conduit. And that's kind of what I do for people is I'm a feelings conduit for people. Get messy. Let me like lay it all out with me, but then let's find the laughter and the joy and the lightness in life afterwards. Like let's get messy and hold the heart, right? So that was a really fun one actually. And then the one on the bottom right is my soul star, my energy, my highest energy, a soul art of my highest energy. And that one I used paper and yarn and Yeah. Yeah. So these are mine. Everyone has their own style, simpler, more complex, different sizes and shapes.
Very fascinating. So can you give an example, experience how this converged to give you a more profound moment or insight, or one of your clients who they've done that, and what kind of profound moments have they had doing this work?
Yeah, just by creating like the intention and going on the soul art journey, um, that whatever a transformation you're kind of working toward is create that is held in your intention. And when you get that intention with your higher self and you're speaking to your soul about it, and then you're creating, and you're going into that creative expression and you're allowing for anything to happen. A lot of times when people create, they forget that they're actually doing something. They just play. It ends up like they have so much fun. It's supposed to be an hour or 2 hours and it's 3 hours, right? Because they have so much fun with it. And then they don't even realize what they did when they sit down for the insight. People have the most profound insights of their life. Like they start to like see how everything fits or what they're actually missing or what their soul is trying to tell them. And then they are able to create this spirit action from that. That kind of brings that learning along, but it's very unique to whoever's on the journey because they've created that intention to begin with, and their insights are from their process, what's on the paper, what they felt, what they thought during the journey, what what happened. Maybe someone called their phone that was weird, or maybe they had this weird memory that popped up while they were doing the work. All of that's taken into account because the minute you start your journey is the minute it starts, and it goes all the way through. So the insights are very personal for each person's life.
Yeah, I find that I don't have that creative gene. I do have a guitar. I've been meaning to play it for quite a while. It's sitting there collecting dust right now. But my understanding is when you start to doing that creative work, your thoughts go away. You just kind of your mind is still, and you're just open and focused and being in the moment, right? And you're just allowing that space for that inner world
Yeah.
to come out and reach out to you. That's kind of how I perceive it.
Yeah. And it's really about who's holding the space with you too. Because if you're by yourself trying to do this stuff, sometimes you get way into your head when you don't need to be. If you have someone holding the space that's really capable of like really holding the space for you to let go and play, then it's amazing.
So,
Can let it
what
go.
advice would you give to people to deepen their connection to that creative essence and spiritual path, like myself? That how do you get started on that creative process? I don't know. I feel like I have a block with it. I'm not getting to it.
If you have already a meditative practice,
Oh,
try
that
like ask,
I do have a very
yeah,
strong meditative practice.
if you already have a meditative practice, like get a few markers, and after your meditation think about something that you're working on. Like maybe you're working on your ex-wife, right? Maybe you're working on like any of those things you're thinking about, right? Or you can even think about finances or home or whatever is up in your mind. After your meditation, sit for a minute with that one prompt, whatever that prompt is for you. It might even just be the prompt of my soul, right? Maybe you want to connect with your soul, my soul. And then have a piece of paper in front of you, pick up a marker, and then just after having sitting with that prompt for a few minutes, open that marker, place it on the page, and just let your hand go. Don't try to draw anything, just let it go. It's called energy sketching. You can even close your eyes while you're doing it and just allow your pen to go. Sometimes if you close your eyes, it's better because you're not seeing what you're doing, so you're not actually being critical, right? If your eyes are closed, it's like, well, my eyes are closed. And just allow your pen to go. That's a form of energy sketching. And then do that like 6 or 7 times with 6 or 7 different prompts. It shouldn't take you more than like a minute or 2 minutes to go through 6 or 7 prompts. It could be love, finances, meaning or purpose, new home, whatever you want to think about is fine. My body, my legs, my hands, my heart, right? And then just do that for 10 to 15 seconds for each one after you've connected in after your meditation. And see, once you're done, you can look back at your sketches and just see what you see what you notice. Does a word pop up? Do you have a repetitive pattern? Is there a movement that wants to come out of it that you could maybe use? And that's just the way to get started. To know that like you can even do it closing your eyes.
Well, I'll tell you, that's very interesting because you made me think about something. I have been known to be a psychic medium. I've done on several occasions where, I just get messages from people who have crossed over. And the first time I did was my nephew had passed away like 25 years ago. But I told my brother I'm going to try to get a message because, they're grieving. I just want them to feel okay about. So I was doing what you just said. I was just sitting at my computer, and then I just started typing, and I typed out a word, and then he didn't know what the word meant. Talked to his mother-in-law, and then it had a lot of meaning. So so that worked, and but I laugh because I thought that would give him like peace, but then every time he sees me, it's like his skin's crawling. Like
He's
I
like,
freak,
what?
I freaked him out to a pretty high degree, but he's kind of gotten over it somewhat. But it is time to take another short commercial break. I'm your host, Bob Kolazarik. You're watching Greetings from the Ashram, and we're streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. We'll be back with Jocelyn right after this.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Bob Kolazarik, and you're watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. We're back with Jocelyn Bates, Soul Art Guide, Akashic Record Guide, Yoga Nidra Guide. So let's talk a little bit about Yoga Nidra because I don't know anything about it, and I normally research things a little bit, and I just didn't get to it. So I'm really kind of curious what that's all about.
Yeah, so it's funny because all of these things I do, they come, most of the ones that I'm doing right now came from me after the death of my parents. All was like, it was on this like chain reaction of things that I learned. Yoga Nidra I found on my own. And what happened was in the middle of grief, and grief goes in big ups and downs sometimes. And sometimes it's like this, right? Sometimes it's real solid. And then all of a sudden something happens. And the second winter season came around and my parents died sick in the hospital. So when my kids got sniffles, like not the following winter, but the winter after, I started getting really, really crazy. Like I thought they were going to die. Like I couldn't sleep. I had insomnia. And then that was making everything else worse. And then I was having all these crazy ups and downs of the grief. So I went on Insight Timer, which I love and I'm on. And I went to go find some yoga nidras and I really was looking for guided meditations, but I found my teacher, Ali Boothroyd, who had the most beautiful voice and she did yoga nidras. And so I started doing them once, twice, 3 times a day. And I started sleeping and I started balancing everything out just from that. It brought everything back into focus for me. And I was like, oh, this was life saving. So I called Allie. I messaged her and I just to tell her that you saved my life. I think I would have probably lost my mind. Um, and she was like, oh, you should join the training. And I did. And it's been the most amazing um, journey through yoga nidra because it's something so tangible. It's a touchstone for people. And it's something that I offer like for free on Insight Timer because I feel like everybody needs to have yoga nidra in their life. And so yoga nidra is like guided meditation, but it's actually very scientific in what it does. You actually go through the koshas or the 5 subtle selves, starting from the physical. The meditation starts with the physical, relaxing the physical, and that's like a rotation of consciousness, relaxing piece by piece. And then it goes to the pranic self, which is the breath, life force, and breath. And then the mental, emotional, the witness, and then the bliss state. And so through a whole yoga nidra, which is generally, at least probably, for a full yoga nidra, you're looking at probably like 30, 35 minutes, the least. You're going through all those subtle selves. And by the time you're done, your brain waves have relaxed down and you've gotten so much beautiful rest, even though you never slept. The coolest thing about yoga nidra is that you could take a nap. You could take a nap and you know how if you take a nap, you're kind of groggy. Like with yoga nidra, you get up and you're like, I'm ready for another 5 hours. I got this, you know? So it was something that saved me in a time when my insomnia could have really made me go down the rabbit hole of like not coming back for a while.
So what is it, like a binary beats type of thing, or is it just breathing exercises? How does it work?
It's
Like
a guided meditation.
it's guided meditation. Okay.
You can use a lot of yoga nidras use binaural beats. I sometimes do, but not all the time. And it's best to listen like with headphones if you have the binaural beats. But it's really like a lot of yoga nidras start with the sankalpa, which is the heart's desire, the true north, your heart's true north, your heart's intention, and you kind of set talking about shaman journeys of different kinds. It's almost like the sankalpa sets the journey through the nidra. And then you go into the rotation of consciousness is just like bringing attention to each body part slowly and gently. Like yoga nidra is effortless. You're generally laying down and you support your body anywhere you can. Pillows under your knees, under your neck, under your arms. You maybe a blanket, like an eye pillow. Like you get so comfortable. You're in what they would call a nidra nest. Yeah. And so you would go and they'd do all these parts, body parts, and then you might have some breathing exercises of just witnessing your breath in and out, breathing from one place to another. Each part of the yoga nidra is meant to bring you into the next subtle self. And then you'd have this kind of opposites. There's some guiding about feeling opposite feelings in the body or opposite sensations and then feeling them together. And then there's some bit of like storytelling in the sense of imagery that's brought out. And then there's the bliss state. So each of them is a different, deeper layer or subtle self that you kind of begin to relax down. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it does. I mean, I've experienced, I don't know that I would have called it yoga nidra, but I've had guided meditations where it sounds very similar to that. So what does nidra mean? I know yoga means union, right? Nidra, I don't,
Sleep.
do you know, do you have a
Yeah.
definition?
It's like the deep sleep, the deep, deep sleep.
Well, you referenced it in regards to karma in the last segment, I thought. So how is that karmic related?
Oh, yeah. So yoga nidra is beyond the guided meditation of yoga nidra. There's like the whole yogic tradition of it, right? So in yoga nidra, we talk about samskaras and releasing and redirecting samskaras. Samskaras are like the grooves or pathways of energy, right? And I always, when I look, I point to my head because when I think of it, I think of the grooves in the brain, although it's not a brain thing, but that's what I think about. Like, are the going back and forth of the brain. They're energetic grooves that where we hold karma, and karma in the yoga tradition is not good or bad. It's not like in the pagan tradition where you do something bad, you get it back, 3 times worse, or good and the opposite, right? Samskara the karma is simply energy like a river that's like been going for a long time in one direction. That river becomes very deep and solid. So when you're going to look at your samskaras, those energetic rivers of your life, right, where you've placed energy, the choices you've made in different ways, and you can go get, again, past lives as well. We were talking Akashic Records. Then you need to create new samskaras. So you have to recognize the old samskaras and you have to create the new ones. And there's a process in Yoga Nidra to do that. So Yoga Nidra isn't just guided meditation. It's like philosophy as well.
Interesting. So the loss of your parents really is changed a lot in your life. So you started the Akashic Records after the loss of your parents. Did you start the soul art? Did you say after the loss, and then Yoga Nidra as well, huh?
So they all connect back for a long, like I said, I was an expressive art therapist, and soul art to me is like an extension of expressive art therapy. I was explaining it to someone the other day, like expressive art therapy intermodal is like art on lined paper, and soul art is like art on like, blank paper to me. And in the end, that just came to me, and that's kind of reignited some of the passion that I've had from my very previous work. And I've done, when my parents died, the first thing I did was human design. Now, I had done human design for a long time. I knew all my kids' charts, my chart, but I had dropped it for a little while. And I went full head in to human design after my parents died because of my mom, because she was really into it. So
I'm just wondering if your mom didn't guide you to all these different
oh, I'm
things.
sure she did. I call them her breadcrumbs. Are you kidding? No, yeah, she totally dropped them in front of me. She's like, here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Yeah. So the human design was the first thing that I came to, and I do charts as well. And then after that, that's how I found the Akashic Records. And that was something brand new to me. So the human design wasn't, but the Akashic Records was brand new to me. And I really fell in love with the practice. Like I love, and I also study soul shamanism, and the two of them connect so beautifully as a practice. And then Yoga Nidra was brand new too. I always thought Yoga Nidra was like poses. Like it says, it has the word yoga in it, right? Like I had no idea. So that was brand new to me. Yeah. And then soul art I had known about, but I just never jumped into. But yeah, it's been this crazy journey of my mom. I'm telling you, it is my mom just
Well, I
throwing me
believe it.
these things.
Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
that to be true. Yeah. But yeah, like my spiritual practice is called Arhatic Yoga, and everybody thinks it's the physical, but it's not. It's Arhat means saint, and yoga means union. So it's basically a practice to achieve oneness with your higher self. It's a very simplistic way to say it. But yeah, so not yoga doesn't mean necessarily
Yeah.
physical all the time. I get that. But I don't understand. The human design aspect. What do you mean by human design? What does that
Well,
entail?
human design is like, if you know astrology, it's kind of like you would get it from your birth time, date, year, place. Human design is a mix of astrology, I Ching, Kabbalah, tree of life, chakra system, numerology. It's a combination of all of that in a body graph. And it has like gates and channels and planets and placements, defined and undefined centers, profiles, types. It's pretty intense. But I will say it is the most accurate thing I've looked at. And then as far as human design, there's also the gene keys on the other side of it, which is kind of like the gates, but they're the gene keys. So it's a fascinating. Once you jump into human design, it is a rabbit hole.
Well, I believe it. I've had astrologers on the show. I had arithmosophist on the show who like does convert your names into numbers and
Oh
then
yeah, yeah.
reach charts. Esoteric astrologers. I do understand a little bit about the Kabbalah cycles. Um, and like I said, esoteric astrology, but combining them all into one complete system, that just seems a little overwhelming to me.
It is. It's pretty crazy. But, and it was channeled. The human design map or energetic map was channeled by Ra, many years ago. And it is, but it's really, I have found it to be so darn accurate. And everybody I've ever done a chart for feels the same way, especially if you have kids and doing the charts for the kids, because there's simple things in it that you can really grasp without knowing the whole big thing, right? Like there's things you can grasp, like your type, your profile. So in other words, like I'm a generator and my daughter is a manifester. I never had a manifester in my life. This kid, generators, they go to sleep, their head hits the pillow if they're living in their self and they're asleep, right? Manifestors need like a half hour to an hour to go to sleep. And I had struggled with this girl trying to get her to sleep. Finally, I'm like, let me check her human design again. And I saw she was a manifester. And I'm like, oh no, she needs time. So we started taking her upstairs like 45 minutes before she had to go to sleep and just being in the space. And then when you go to sleep, she goes to sleep. It's like these simple things with parenting that can like really change a whole bunch about your like routines and stuff if you know the human design of like your family.
Well, that's pretty fascinating. I'm trying to
Yeah.
get a handle on the Kabbalah cycles. I think we were talking before offline about the different cycles. Like your sun cycle, it's 52 days, and then it goes into another cycle. And at the end, 52 days prior to your birthday is your Saturn cycle, where everything is just kind of destructive. And there's different times of the year with the cycles to do certain things or not to do certain things. So I think that's part of everything that you have to do. But we're just about out of time. So I know there's so much more that you offer. I've been to your website. You do tarot cards and things like that, right? You do some tarot readings. Is that true?
I do. I've used cards every so often. I do soul sessions where it's super intuitive what people are looking for and moving in. They can use any of the tool, like we can use any of the tools that I have to kind of figure out what's going on for them or where they want to move or transform. And yeah, because it might be helpful to know your human design if you're working on a business or you really want to go into the Akashic records of the business and see like, well, what's the feeling? What does it want to do? Where does it want to go? Where does it come from? Right. So I work intuitively with all those tools in soul sessions. And yeah,
Amazing.
and actually I just put up today for anyone who feels like they're creative and they're afraid of or feeling blocked creatively. I just put creativity wise, I just put up a free workshop. It's going to be the first Saturday of every month for people it's called Breaking Through Creativity, the Creative Blocks, something like that.
Right. Well,
But
we
yeah,
have your website. We could put that up there for people to
yeah,
get in touch with you. That's jocelynbates.net. And people can find all of your offerings. And it's a good way to get in touch with you. And they can
yeah.
find out about your free program. I'm blown away by everything that you're doing. Really, it's a lot, and I really appreciate you being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me. What a good conversation. I loved it.
So that's about all the time we have for this segment. It's time to take another commercial break. I am your host, Bob Kolazaric, and you're watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. I'll be right back.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Bob Kolazarek, and you're watching Greetings from the Ashram, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. As we near the conclusion of this episode, I am deeply inspired by the profound insight shared by our guest today, the remarkable Jocelyn Bates. Her exploration of the Akashic Records, soul art, yoga nidra, and the transformative journey through her grief has illuminated the path to self-discovery, healing, and personal growth in such a profound way. Jocelyn, your courage, vulnerability, and resilience have illuminated the path to authenticity, inner strength, and profound transformation for all of us tuning in today. Your authenticity and unwavering commitment to growth in the face of challenges serve as a powerful reminder of the beauty that emerges from life's most poignant moments in the tapestry of life. Each thread represents a unique opportunity for growth, reflection, and renewal. So we thank you for being here today. And ladies and gentlemen, next week, I will be joined by the extraordinary Dr. Ashley Moreland, all the way from Australia, the land down under. Dr. Moreland is not only the dynamic CEO of the Remind Institute, but also a distinguished neuroscientist, best-selling author, therapist, and coach. So in our upcoming episode, Dr. Moreland will grace us with her presence to share her remarkable journey of personal growth and transformation, all inspired by the profound biblical principle of love. So get ready to be inspired, enlightened, and uplifted as we delve into the depths of Dr. Moreland's insights, wisdom, and transformative experiences. So stay tuned for an episode filled with wisdom, inspiration, and transformative power of love as we embark on a journey of self-discovery and personal growth with the incredible Dr. Ashley Moreland. Don't miss out on this enlightening conversation that promises to touch your heart and soul. So join us next week for an episode you won't want to miss, featuring Dr. Ashley Moreland. So, as always, you can get in touch with me at my Facebook, and I hope you keep in touch with me at Self-Help Coaching LLC, as well as Instagram, LinkedIn, or on my YouTube channel, Self-Help Coaching LLC. So that's it for me tonight, and I want to thank you all for being here, and I'll see you next week. Namaste, everyone. Thanks again for joining.
This has been Greetings from the Ashram with host Bob Kolazarek. Through meaningful conversations and practical insights, this show invites you to explore the endless possibilities for personal growth, healing, and spiritual awakening. Tune in each week to discover how these practices can bring balance and harmony to your life, making it a true journey of self-discovery. Fridays, 7 p.m. on the Bold Brave TV network.